Welcome everybody to the latest NFL Draft Geek video series. I'm Brian Johannes, and today I'm going to talk to you why I think, and I've really thought about this for quite a while, that Seattle Seahawks general manager John Schneider is a bit overrated. I know he gets regularly talked about as one of the better GMs in all of the NFL. Every time people talk about the best executives, he's always one of the names that's listed. And I used to think that too, and I was a big fan of him and Pete Carroll and what they were doing. But the closer I looked at things, and as things started to evolve, I really started taking a deeper look, and I started thinking, you know what? Maybe Schneider's not as good as we think we are. We had several questionable drafts, and it kind of really looked into him being a little overrated, and maybe the attention should go elsewhere, and that praise, and that even and so I kind of came up with this idea of this little video series because of the Seahawks. They just hired Ryan Grigson, the old Indianapolis Colts general manager, the guy that ruined Andrew Luck during his early years. These teams that were supposed to be so good kind of had success despite themselves, and he was much maligned as being a not very good general manager, and they hired him on, and I thought, you know what, Snyder, I've long said for the last several years is a bit overrated. Then they make these moves. They're having some other issues, and I'm thinking, you know what, let's just approach this topic. So a little bit of a backstory. John Schneider was hired in 2010 as the general manager. He came over from the Green Bay Packers. He's a Ted Thompson type guy. And the Seahawks, quickly had success. They went to the playoffs in the first year, missed the playoffs, and then went for 5 straight years before not going this past year. So they've had a lot of success. A big part of that is his drafting that he's done. He's drafted guys. That first draft he landed Earl Thomas, Russell Okung, Golden Tate, Cam Chancellor. Okay, the next year they landed guys like KJ Wright in the 4th round, Richard Sherman in the 5th round, Byron Maxwell, Malcolm Smith was the 7th round pick. The year after that, Bobby Wagner in the 2nd round, Russell Wilson in the 3rd round, and that's what this team was really based on, was those picks, and he was so praised because of those mid-round picks, getting Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor, KJ Wright, those guys in the 4th and 5th rounds. Kind of the guys that have been the core of that defense, along with Bobby Wagner in the 2nd, and obviously Russell Wilson. Okay, but starting in about 2014, 2015, the drafts really started to take a drop. If you look at that 2014 draft, the guys like Paul Richardson, Justin Britt, Cassius Marsh, Kevin Norwood, Kevin Pierre-Louis, Jimmy Staten, Garrett Scott, Eric Pinkins, Cairo Small. Not really the best draft. 2015, Frank Clark has played all right. Tyler Lockett. He's played all right. He's played solid, but he's been injury prone. Terry Poole, Mark Glowinski, Ty Smith, Obon Gwacham, Christian Sokolai, Ryan Murphy, and you start thinking, oh, that's not that Garrett draft. You go to 2016, Jermaine Ifedi, Jaron Reed, C.J. Prosise, Nick Vannett, Reese Odiombo, Quentin Jefferson, Alex Collins, Joey Hunt, Kenny Lawler, Zach Brooks. Prosise, when healthy, has been a pretty good back. I wouldn't say foundation back, but pretty good back. Jaron Reed, solid run defender. Hey, Alex Collins has done pretty well. He's with the Baltimore Ravens. Hey, 2017, Malik McDowell, injury. Can't really hold that against him. Ethan Pochik, Shaquille Griffin, Delano Hill, Nazir Jones, Amara Darbo, Tedrick Thompson, Michael Tyson, Justin Sr., David Moore, Chris Carson. Right, Carson played okay, got hurt. Pochik, rookie, got some action on the offensive line. Griffin probably going to be the starting cornerback. But it's not what you had in those early rounds. They drafted so well in those early rounds, and you're thinking, what happened? Well, a lot of people forget Scott McCloughan was most recently the Washington Redskins general manager, guy that kind of took them and turned them into a playoff contender on a pretty regular basis. McLuhan came from the Seahawks. He got hired. Schneider hired him in 2010 also, and he served as an assistant to the general manager till 2014. When did they have all those draft classes? Till 2014. And we're seeing without Scott McLuhan there, their draft classes have really kind of dropped off pretty significantly. Yes, they've got some players here and there, but they have really lacked the ability to get those foundational pieces to reload. They signed all these guys to these big contracts. They extended Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner. Really keeping that Legion of Boom going. They had kind of funneled in guys on the opposite of Richard Sherman, and that's kind of dried up recently. The offensive line, they've really struggled to draft guys there. I know that's kind of a position that they've really kind of not necessarily ignored, but kind of tried to go on the cheap. Some of the guys they've gotten other than Justin Britt just haven't really been good. And it just makes you think, why is John Schneider getting all this press as one of the best general managers in the NFL when they've really not drafted good since Scott McLuhan has left? They've had some pretty bad drafts, in my opinion. Yeah, like I said, they've got a few pieces there, but I don't think he should be getting the love that he is. And you're going to see this team really drop off. I know some of it's because of injuries. Cliff Averill, might been hurt, might not come back. Cam Chancellor might not come back. Earl Thomas might be traded. Who knows? Richard Sherman's gone. Russell Wilson's still there. He's still very good, but who's going to protect him? They got Dwayne Brown. And you just haven't seen that. And they've traded away picks. They traded away a first-round pick to get Jimmy Graham, round pick to get Percy Harvin. And they just haven't really panned out. Percy Harvin didn't do much. Jimmy Graham was good here and there, but not the level of the athlete. Sheldon Richardson, they made a trade for. Now he's gone. So a lot of really questionable moves. I think this team's really going to take a big step back this year. As I said, a lot of those defenders are gone. I didn't think they had the best draft this past year. Rashad Penny fits the offense pretty well. But, is he worth that first-round pick? Rasheem Green is a guy I wasn't a big fan of. Is he going to be able to come in and be that Michael Bennett guy? Don't forget, they got Michael Bennett basically for nothing. And he's gone too. And they weren't able to get anything out of him when he left. Will Dissly, they got a blocking tight end. Shaquem Griffin, is going to be a good player for them, but is he a foundational piece? Trey Flowers, a safety. Are they looking to have him replace Cam Chancellor? Jamarco Jones, more help along the offensive line, but is he going to be a lot like the Ethan Pokicks and the Justin Seniors and those guys that really haven't panned out so far? I mean, it's still early on Posick. But, that's kind of my thoughts on why I think John Schneider's, a bit overrated. I'm not saying he's a bum. No, I'm not saying Scott McLuhan was the answer to all their questions. He should get all the praise. But, you look at his influence that he maybe had, I think that's not something to really kind of turn a blind eye to. Like I said, he left in 2014, and that's their really kind of last decent draft, in my opinion. Yeah, 2015 wasn't half bad, but I think there's only about 2 players out of that class, maybe 3 that are still on the roster. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm going to try to do more of these as we go through the summer and into the college football season. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow me at draft_Brian at NFL Draft Geek. And make sure you're hitting up NFLDraftGeek.com for all your draft needs. Until next time.